All right, this is like take two. We have gone away from AT&T 5G. We have gone away from Westin Hotel Internet. We have gone into the cradle.
We're in the Wild West, though. We're in the absolute Wild West in the Gary Zone.
We're in the Gary Zone. In the Gary Zone.
It's used to a lot larger files, mostly video content.
Watch it.
Mostly video content.
Okay. You can say that.
Okay, but you didn't say what kind of video content.
We purposely didn't say that because there might be children watching tonight. And
look at that swinging.
Number one, if there are children watching tonight, that's not a good idea.
There goes. See them rolling. They hate.
Wow, they look like they could kick our ass.
They could. Look at the cool kids walk by.
Yeah, Susan and Steven and Matt just giving us the boom, middle finger and rolled on past.
I know.
Wow. That's what
Every
you get.
time you see Matt walk by, it's like watching kittens playing under a blanket.
He's right though.
You're just like, whoa, hold on.
Fair play, fairness.
Donkey and dog.
In fairness, he's absolutely correct.
To be fair.
To be fair, we'll never fair.
Well, we don't seem like we're dropping out anymore.
No.
Is there anybody watching us?
I don't think
Yes.
Or are they already like left?
No. We there are people going, holy shit, they came back.
Oh my God.
Whoever's still on, God bless you, sir.
That's
for having faith
You,
in us.
sir, are one
Because at one point we had no faith. So
Hector, thank you. I had Glenn flip an imaginary coin. What?
By the way, we will be having a very special episode of Tapping.
Really?
Hit chat in October. Because there's some news that I heard today at lunch that I will not share on the internet just yet. But we will have a special guest who is ready and queued up.
Oh, Mr. Carter. Mr. Carter.
Listen.
Can you sign his name?
I cannot. Perhaps? But there is a code word.
What?
I can't say it out loud.
Damn it.
I can show you a picture.
Okay.
I'll show you a picture.
Of him, not of you.
Of the person.
Right.
Because he's going to be on the show.
Take
a picture of your private.
Nope.
You don't know
Nothing.
who you try.
Nobody. They would be blind.
Well, now listen. Now that we've figured out what the issue is,
Really?
tomorrow night when Glenn and I and random drop by
is this
guests.
what I think it's going to be? Oh, this is going to be so good.
Amen, brother.
When is this going to be?
In October.
I can't wait that long.
In October.
August, September. That's 4 months. How am I going to hold this in my pants for 4 months? Because my pants are going crazy.
Mike, you got to hold it in your pants.
Oh my gosh. Well, Jim's right. This is going to be a extravagant. Oh, an extra. We may have to do 3 hours.
I think we'd have to.
Because this is going to be. Does he know this? He knows this, right?
I don't know. Or we're going to have to do like consecutive nights.
Maybe a week. I mean, because this is going to cover a lot of ground.
Legendary.
So you don't want to do it all in one night because then people go, I got to go to the bathroom and sleep and shit.
I mean, when you have a honeymoon, you don't do it all night. Well, good. I mean, you
all night long.
You're going to be there for 3 days in Cancun. You got to save something for day 3, right?
All or nothing.
Maybe my testosterone was lower than most men. I don't know.
I'm going to die trying.
All right, so we are so sorry for our issues. We're sorry for our issues later. Thank you if you stuck around, Paul and Hector. Thank you for sticking around.
Oh, we're up to 7 now.
Okay.
Yeah, with this people are going, oh, holy shit!
They're calling their friends like, get back on, they're back on, they're back.
They're gonna show things.
Dead.
The whole hotel didn't explode into meteor
Ain't
strike.
quite dead yet.
Oh man,
Not yet.
I would like to say, I'm running my dealer booth, and I've already had this is like pre-con. This is a pre-con gate on, so it's not really the con. I have nearly sold out of everything I have first edition.
Really?
Like the first 10 people kept all bought us. I mean, I can't price it any higher and feel good about myself. I price as high as I can sell it.
Price it higher and feel bad.
We had to move and get a new internet connection.
Hey.
Good.
Oh yeah.
But yes, so 1E is still king. I was just telling. I pretty much sold out of all my 1E. I can only price it so high before I feel bad about myself, and it's still all sold.
Can I tell you a funny story?
Okay.
So I didn't know I buy things for Games Plus.
This is Bill Meinhardt, by the way, that you hear his voice.
I bought
His
a
face.
player's handbook online for $43, and that was the price. And then the shipping and everything brought it to about $58. So I brought it into the store, and I thought, what am I going to price it at? I decided on $100. I rushed it over. It sold within an hour. And so I'm getting grief from my coworkers because they're, why don't you price it at $125?
Well, how did you know? I mean, you're like me. $100 for a player's handbook is pretty salty. I mean,
It was in very good condition.
Okay.
So there's my funny story.
well,
That's right.
This, well, I'm watching stuff fly out of my booth and going, I priced that B1 at $55. I mean, should I 75? I don't know. I mean, I want to make it affordable to human beings that have
You know
cash,
what?
but
They all have their COVID money.
I think we're out of COVID money now.
Are we?
I think so. I am.
Yeah.
Oh, except for Bill's not. Bill lays down.
Bill's get Bill.
And Bill, oh, I wonder, I brought a slab module for you that you might be interested in. So it's behind the counter. If you want to
I'll
look
go. It's your booth.
Yeah, by the way.
By the way, which one? I just think, okay. fair enough.
So it's lunchtime.
Hector, feel free to share the link wherever you want to share the link.
What are we linking?
Us.
Oh,
You can share it on
look how
Discord.
good this.
I don't.
We're not
I don't
rating.
stop
This is
people from
wonderful.
sharing links on Discord.
Why did we
Gary's
ever
been
do-
bogarting his internet?
Man, I think Gary, that's why we couldn't get on. Gary was sucking up all, that's how it works, right?
Yeah.
He sucks up
Yeah.
all there, nobody
Because
else
he's
is
looking
in.
at his special pictures.
Okay.
Well,
His
you-
videos, like some of them might be what you would call amateur, possibly.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Or mature. I've also
Oh,
heard
okay.
it's mature.
God,
Mature.
grandmother is a big. That's a big thing.
I know that there was a lot of interest in that area, and apparently stepmom. You know, apparently Disney's
Oh, well,
approach to
stepmom,
stepmoms
that is a.
and Gary's approach to stepmoms is something completely
That's a given. Yes,
I mean, you know,
because that way you don't feel too
with
guilty.
Disney, they're always evil and they're not friendly or helpful, and they want to not get hands-on.
Well,
And
stepmom
with Gary,
versus real
stepmoms
mom,
are-
it's an ethical issue that makes you feel better about yourself afterwards.
Yes.
Oh wait, what are we talking about? I'm sorry. Was this?
Yes, Fugly.
Oh.
Very, very insanely crazy.
And,
Look
and
at
by the
it.
way, Fugly, I got your package. Thank you, sir. Thumbs up. It's in the car. I'll have to show Eric later. So I appreciate it.
Ooh.
Fugly always has something absolutely kick-ass every year. It's always something different. And the dude he's a machine. He just, you say something and he creates, well, it'd be so cool if we had, a dice rolling pimp mobile with, Snoop Dogg. And then it's right, it's here. It's here. Yeah, it's right there. And he made artwork that's all in there.
Well, Fugly sent me a number of things, but one of my favorite things is the 10 Cars toilet sign that was actually hanging, with Rachel's permission, hanging off our bathroom.
Well, I like. So
Yes.
So last year we posted a picture of myself, my brother, and Kurt Gould in a crab costume behind the scenes, and we just like posted it once. And next thing I know, Fugui's done this entire incredible piece of artwork where we're all there, and the paladin in hell is behind us
Hey.
fighting it, and then we're the devil.
I think what we
it's just
need.
insane.
I'm just going to throw this out here. What we need is the Ntrpg Black Velvet paint, and that would have the Holy Trinity, right? It would have Midnight Auction Satan. It would have Mr. Krabs, and would of course have a certain Speedo wearing
Oh my
person.
God!
And meanwhile, wreathing it would be the many luminaries that surround us every year,
Sure.
right? But I think that would be spectacular.
Well, I want
It
you
would
to
be
know
something.
that one year Jason Braun did do a black velvet painting me. I need to bring it up. It's this size, but I have not brought it up in a few years. I need to get it. The frame fell off. It had a frame on it, fell off. But I will bring it up. But he did a black velvet painting of
I
Satan.
believe what I'm hearing is it couldn't contain your magnificence.
It I think it just exploded. It just busted. Like I'm sitting there looking at it. It was crazy. Yeah, glass everywhere. The cat screaming.
Yeah.
It just goes off. All right, so we got markers on now. Oh, good. So let's talk about Eric. Are you in any games this week?
I am in one game. Glenn, yeah, I know, only one. Glenn Hallstrom is running gangbusters.
You will love it. He does a.
I know.
job.
So Rich and I are in his game on Friday. And I believe I am with the stewards on a panel about podcasting and
What do you?
YouTube.
What do you and the stewards know about podcasting?
What are we going to talk about? I've had it
Jim,
all
what do you
before.
got scheduled? Any games?
So yeah, I've got a few games. So I'm in Greyhawk Jesus
Yes.
tomorrow night. So the genealogy play.
Of course.
Greg, pop in next to
Hold
Mr.
on,
Jim
sorry,
here.
give me a second.
We have a Wily Canadian here.
Yes. Yet another wily Canadian. He was on the bus with me today. Say hi, Greg.
Hi, Greg.
There you go. Look at that. He's all the way from Ontario. He's
Oh.
up north.
A couple other guys from Ontario come to the con for the first time.
Oh,
Oh,
crap.
awesome.
There is full
More
training.
fun.
I love this guy. He's
Great.
an absolute
Hey.
unpaid.
Live in Mississauga
This
and
is-
Calgary.
I'm actually at
No way. Are we all? We're all here watching the game on Saturday night.
Well, you know what? Let me tell you something about.
Game one Saturday
I'm gonna
night.
tell you something about Edmonton.
We'll be
Boom,
here.
because they beat the.
Oh yeah.
I thought the
Wheels
Stars
up.
were gonna win that series. man.
Wheels up.
I'm actually
Yeah.
a Bruins fan.
Screwed.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
That's right.
So I like the news.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Good.
You are just.
I,
You don't even have to
Oh,
wait again.
nice.
We had a good run at the beginning.
Oh.
well, I'm gonna go on record as anti-Edmonton because they beat the Stars. Sorry, not happy.
Well. So
But I will be rooting for my Dallas Mavericks against the Boston Celtics. Any
So-
Boston fans, I don't want to hear from.
One thing that's very noticeable is the number of first-time attendees at
Very-
North Texas this year.
This year especially. It's been because we sold out this year, so you guys probably, people that are regular tune-ins probably get tired of hearing about North Texas, but it's such a cool part of our life. And I'll be honest with you, I am really happy to have Jim become part of this the last 2 years because he was one of those guys. I kept thinking he would love this convention. I wish he would come to the convention. Everything conspired against us for years and years.
I'm like a vampire. You have to invite me.
Yes, and so he finally came,
It's
and
like,
now he's part of the deal. I mean, that's how it happens. That's what happens, and that's why it's such a great con. Is that you come here and boom, you're in.
never gonna-
And that's why I try to give you. I say, if you go one time, don't go forever. Just come one time. Well, I don't know. No, come one time. And you're fine. So yes, we sold out this year. We had a few cancellations. If you're in the area, you want to come, we'll absolutely can fit you in. We've had cancellations. We have a game board up. It looks like it's full of games.
But really and truly, right? It's the biggest thing about NTRPG. There are other cons that have implemented the we have an open seat and so on and so forth. But even if there is an open seat, the odds are if you walk up and say, I've always wanted to play this game, somebody's going to open up the seat.
I've
Right.
already took 2 people.
That's right.
I'm up to 10 now on my
And
table.
that's
But yes,
look, in the house. There he is.
yeah, Mr.
He
It's
is.
the Zeb. It's the
It's the
Zeb.
Zeb Cook.
Yes.
That's it.
This is like celebrity after
I
celebrity.
know.
In the hallway. We're in the
We're on like murders, bro.
Go get next to this guy.
Good.
Say hi to our wonderful audience.
It's Zeb Cook.
Done.
Everybody wants to be Zeb Cook, but they can't be.
Hey,
Oh, look at this.
somebody's causing troubles.
It's causing trouble. Oh my God. It's Zeb Cook.
He came. So Jeb's here this weekend to announce Rocky Bullwinkle, the second game.
That's right.
Because the first one was such a hit. He's going to do a sequel.
Lewis and Squirrel must die really.
So if you're ever at a con, and I'm going to tell you, I absolutely, if you're at a con, ask Zeb to tell a story about how he created the Rocky Bullwinkle game. It's about a 15-minute story. It is an epic.
Did you just go back to our conversation about better living through the industry, getting on a plane?
It involves him and I can't remember who else flying to New York to the Museum of Television because back then they didn't have whatever, and having to watch every Rocky and Bullwinkle episode of the period of 1 week because TSR was too cheap to have them stay like a week. So within like 48 hours, they had seen every Rocky and Bullwinkle episode, and it did weird things to his brain that I don't think he's still recovered from. Oh, but ask him to tell a story. You got to listen to him tell a story because it's a Shaggy Dog story. It goes on and on and on. It's great. It's just.
What is that Wolverine out of my head?
But that's what's cool about the convention. You come here and you get to hear these guys tell these kind of
That's
stories that
right.
I would have never heard this story ever.
You know, and I think, and I'm gonna, I'll talk to this for just a second. What I love about NTRPG, this is the last show where you have the caliber of guest, the smaller captive attendance stuff, that you get to know people, you get to actually spend some time shoulder to shoulder. They aren't just, you say you can't meet your hero. And we all know that there are people that once we met them, we wish we hadn't actually met our.
Right.
But there isn't anybody like the decent people of Peckerhead ratio in North Texas.
Very
is
tiny.
99 to point negligence.
So, not saying against, I love Gary Con. I was at Gary Con this year. They have a great line of guests, but there's also 4,000 people. So,
4,000
so the
people.
chances are,
And they all are coughing on you.
you're not. They were this
At
year
all
too, because I
times.
was sick. But they have it like this. They have an autograph line for somebody like that, and you get to walk up and you get to say hi, and he signs something. You walk off because you can't take up his time. Here, it's much more laid back. Like I said, I love what Luke does. I love Gary Con. This is a different vibe. It's 500 people, and you get to talk to people and meet them and give them to sign stuff. I just got James Raggy was over there. I said, James, I did not get you to sign anything last year. I pulled a box and goes, oh my God. I said, well, I got you here. So he signed him. He signed everything, which is great because at a normal convention, James would be swarmed by, really weird Lamentations
He's
people.
swarmed by a lot of things. Some of them we can't discuss on this
But
podcast.
Lamentations people with goth outfits on would walk up
That's
and
right.
sign them. So,
It's great to have it following. It's just skews in a different slightly way.
so
There's a lot of latex. I'm not sure why, but it's okay. It's a little squeaky in
But
the
we have
dungeon, but it works.
little squeaky. But that's what's cool here. You do get to come up and talk to these guys. You can have breakfast with them, lunch. Look, these guys, they'll take a free meal, man. If you want to go to dinner they'll go with you to dinner. So it's awesome.
So I'll talk about one of the greatest joys of North Texas is getting to know Alan Hammond.
Absolutely.
Like really and truly,
Absolutely.
the hidden gem of North Texas.
Oh my gosh.
The luminary of luminaries is Alan.
I'm not joking. This guy's changed my life. Really, it's been awesome.
And he is just a decent human being to the point where you're like, if I had known this, I would have given you puppies years ago.
And
just because they would have had a good
I
home.
tell you what, he is one of those guys work for TSR that doesn't overstate his role. He's
That's
self-deprecating. Right. He knows he was only there for a few years. He did this, and this. C2, touchdowns. He did this.
Yes.
But he doesn't brag about it. He doesn't go on and on.
But it doesn't define who he is.
Not at all.
Right?
He had an entire career after he left TSR, which he's retired from now. And now he just loves to go to game conventions and hang out. It's great.
But he's not. I always call it, right? So when my son was little, I would say the worst thing in the world in high school are the people who are a big deal in high school and it's downhill after that. TPE.
Not me.
Or PTE, peak too early, right? And really and truly, there are people who worked at TSR for 2, 3, 5, 6, 7 years. And that is the defining part of their existence.
Absolutely.
And Alan has led a full, wonderful, decent life, and he couldn't be nicer. I have one of the Alan Hammock T-shirts from a couple of years ago, and it's one of my most prized possessions. I love it.
One of my best.
That's right, Alabama War Game.
One of my best Alan Hammock moments was when I'm running a game at a convention. My phone is ringing, which I don't like people bringing phones to the game, and so my phone's ringing, and I said, "Oh God, Alan Hammock," and I hang up on it, and everybody around the table goes, Alan Hammock? I said, yeah, he's been bothering me tonight about something. Okay, let's get back to the game. Like, oh, no, hold on. Alan Hammock just calls you on the phone. Like, yeah? Doesn't do that to everybody?
Look, Chris says he wants to find a copy of Top Secret. Dude, I have like 4 copies in a box at my house. Next year, I'll bring one. You just have to show up and bid at the auction.
And then Alan comes to the convention, and he runs Boot Hill because he loved Boot Hill. He wrote a Boot Hill module. Steve Winter used to run Boot Hill. He kind of handed off to Alan. After a while, Boot Hill will wear you out. It beats you down. It beats Steve down.
And out.
So by the way, Steve Winter is running the fantasy trip this year because we put something out there and said, look, we've got all this fantasy trip stuff. We would like to run. Somebody gave us the entire Kickstarter donated to the convention. Rather than selling, I said, let's use it.
I thought people liked you.
Why are you coming down on the fantasy trip? It is a perfectly good war game / RPG simulation something.
Sure.
Well, Steve was very excited.
I'm happy.
And so he's going to run it 3 times. He's running fantasy trip 3 times. An adventure he wrote in the late 70s that he just wrote and was never published.
So I actually, one of the things I brought to get signed, I have my player's handbook from when I was a kid. I get everybody's signed.
That's awesome. I love that.
But I brought a perfect Boot Hill poster from 78, 79.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
And I'm
Yeah.
going to have Alan Hammock and Steve Winter both.
That would be awesome.
Right?
I mean, it's already a treasure. That will make it even
That's right.
more treasurable.
Right? Like,
yes.
did good for it. Jim is a hater. I'm a hater. Why am I a hater?
I don't know.
Who's this Mr. Gun guy?
He's
Seriously.
always beat me down. He needs to beat you
No,
down.
no,
a
he
bit.
likes you.
Now he does after he beat me down for like 2 years. And then he's
All
like,
right,
"Oh,
so
I love you, Mike." I'm like, oh, finally. I passed the
I
audition.
finally got there.
He kicked me in the nuts enough. Okay.
Ow!
I feel sorry for
my
you.
clavicle. Ow! That's
He,
right.
he didn't like that I said I like Jenny D. So he, you know.
Well,
Yeah, okay.
that's right.
No,
Oh,
I
Jimmy
like
D.
what she does for the game. I
who?
don't know her. Jenny D. You don't know who Jenny D is?
No.
You don't like Manic Pixie Dream Girls with green hair and the do photo shoots of? Okay, well, I guess you're lost.
I mean, is that like a Tinkerbell thing? Is that like a?
She has like 685,000 followers. I mean, I can't believe you don't know who she is.
There must be an OnlyFans.
No, it's
No.
not.
Oh,
No.
thank
She
God.
does it straight. She rolls
Okay,
it straight, man.
I got nothing. I don't know.
She's a cutie, yeah, and she does. So she runs her. So she has a
I
little
don't
channel.
refer to women as cuties.
I do.
That's a great fast match.
Okay, listen. Let me take your hand. When you turn 60, you can start doing anything you want to.
I'm not
I'm
doing
gonna-
this. I'm not doing this.
When you're 60, you can do
L's to
anything
the
you want.
nose.
Hey,
Yeah.
cutie.
That sounds like a fast trick.
I
to
still
jail.
call waitresses sweetie. I go, hey, sweetie,
I don't know
My
how your
iced
nuts
tea is
aren't
a little-
over your shoulder.
my iced tea's a little low here. Could you help me out, sweetie? Because I'm 60. I don't care
Oh
anymore.
my God. Shenanigans.
Why am I exactly? Yes, you girl loving. Look, if you can't spell gun, we're gonna make you leave. But no. So look up Jenny D in your spare time. Now, don't spend a lot of time on it, but just
No. I've given up looking up women on the internet. It's all just.
Ah, you're
trouble.
lost.
They're
Oh, well, that's true too.
all
Costs you a
trouble.
lot of money too. It's really
Yeah,
expensive.
I don't understand.
It's very expensive.
I just don't understand.
Anyway, so
Please.
I'm now my new crush is Professor DM. I finally started watching his videos. I kind of like where he's going, and I want you to know everything we talked about last week. He ran a video. I'm sure he didn't watch our video. Why would he watch our dumb video? But he agreed with pretty much everything we said.
Really?
So we're just not on an island here. He absolutely was
But
like,
come
yes.
on, right? Like, I don't want to turn this into a Watson discussion.
Oh, why not? That's always the.
I got.
Well,
Right.
Mike, it's just no, it's not more of the cookies, right? They're handing out
Yes.
D&D 50th anniversary
They
cookies. when you
I
check
am
in.
going to give. Oh, there's Angela Emery.
That's
Hello,
right.
Angela.
Special guest. Get
Yes.
it right.
Well, I mean,
You want to come say hi to the world?
wanted her to come for
All
years.
like
and
8
she-
people. Come around over here. I got a camera here. It's Angela Emery over here. Come around
Yay.
this way. Come around. Say wait. That's the camera. Say hi.
painter extraordinaire, Angela Emery.
Woo!
Thank you
That's
for coming,
right.
Angela. We're so glad to have you. We're doing our weekly little whatever
Podcast.
cast. It's
Thing.
live. It's live at the con. So. I know we're big time, man. Okay. We have like 25
six
people watching.
people watching
Oh,
right
6
now.
now? It's up to 6. Oh my god.
We had 20 and then they all quit. No.
No. We actually we quit because we had no connection.
Well, that's whose fault is that?
Did you just get here?
I
No,
blamed
it's
Gary,
all
but
right.
Gary
I
saved
didn't
us.
see it. I didn't know. Well, it's not like everybody has to check in with me or anything. So okay.
You finally
All
got in
right.
your room, right? Yeah, it took forever for mine.
All right. We want to make sure you enjoy being here, and So yeah, so every year we try to get people that have never been, just want them to come. And,
That's
and
right.
Angela, I've wanted Angela to come for years, and I run into her at ReaperCon every once in a while. And she finally said, "Yeah, it's the time. Yeah, I guess your kids are all gone now, so it's the time to hang out and do some fun stuff and go to conventions." So.
You know, it's funny. My daughter's aging out. She's 19. And they just have the end of year again. Because
Are you missing the end of year dinner?
Oh, no!
no. You're missing
Next
the
time
end of year cadets dinner?
Oh no!
Wow. You like got it between the ribs. That was pretty
Thanks,
good.
Mom.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
I can see that one.
That's excellent.
well, actually, they came up with a couple of weeks before. Oh, yeah, that's dinner. You give me. Anyway, actually, it turns out that because she's aging out, that's not that numbers didn't work. So, set up what happened.
Well, it's a next generation. Is my grandson, granddaughter, and daughter-in-law. So all here.
How we doing?
Good to see you guys. So Jake started coming to the convention year 3, I believe, when he was about 7 years old. Well, you're 20. He was 13 years ago. He's about 7, right? 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Yep. And he's been to every convention since then. He came to this one, even though he's in Idaho now. He made his way here, which most people are trying to get at. Most people.
Coeur d'Alene. We're in Idaho.
Oh.
My son's in Pullman.
We've only been to Boise.
Yeah, they're not allowed.
Yeah.
That's it. We covered it. You covered Idaho.
We're done.
There's mountains up here.
That's
There's
right.
the survivalist over here. And,
Yeah. Grumpy. Oh, grumpy. I'm gonna be so grumpy. I guess I have to explain why I don't like the fantasy trip because I'm getting crap.
Yeah, Guns Ham, we're gonna hammer you now. Hold on, I'm gonna take a little break and get those set up. I'll be right back.
Fleeing.
Can you get back?
He's fleeing. Oh no.
All right, so I'm gonna turn the camera this way so Rach can get in. Oh,
I'm like, why?
come on, because you're here. You're here.
Oh my God, Ty Beard's finally in.
I've been wandering around all day.
I haven't seen him.
I've seen him, and he keeps. And it's always like, I'm like, I gotta run upstairs and get my my laptop. Oh, I just want to show you. That's my wife. Like, it's like, I wish I had more time. And that's the weird thing about North Texas. You get here Wednesday, a day early, and by the time Sunday rolls around, you're like, where'd all the time go?
It goes quick. It just picks up speed and it never stops.
Yeah.
Picks up speed and never stops.
No.
So
That's right.
the dealers are
By the way,
the
it's-
dealers hall is straight ahead, and then all the other
Bill-
rooms.
Bill
Playing
Will.
games, starting to kick off.
Yeah, come on, Mike's going to do.
You all right?
Mike's doing personal business.
Personal. That's it.
Hey, man.
Hey, how
How
are
the heck
you?
are you?
Have a seat.
Well, hello, you lucky devils.
There you go. That is Ty Beard.
No way. The guy finally got the Ty Beard here.
The beard that
The
is
beard
the
is
Ty.
here.
The beard has made it. Yeah. We've
Look,
been at a
here
Brazilian
comes Matt.
steakhouse.
Here comes Matt. It's Matt Finch. Look at him.
Did I hear somebody say they didn't like the fantasy trip?
Yeah, that would be
Yes,
Really?
him.
I've never actually heard anybody say they didn't like it.
Sorry, what? Okay, here goes Matt Finch. Matt's about to walk behind me. It's like watching kittens playing under a blanket. There he goes. It is Matt Finch. So, why do I hate the fantasy trip?
Why do you hate
I'll
the
tell
fantasy
you all
trip?
about this. So, I'm not a big fan of fantasy trip. I played it when I was younger, and it was like whatever, sure, right? But it was the Kickstarter. It was the Kickstarter because somebody literally kept flogging it every day, 3 or 4 times a day on my Facebook feed.
That's fair.
And that guy, I hate that guy. And
Okay, that's
really
fair.
and truly, like, you can tell me about your Kickstarter, and I'm happy for you. And you can say, would you support me and like mention my Kickstarter? And I will do my best to try to accommodate you. Because I want your Kickstarter to succeed. But so help me Jesus, when you are spamming your Kickstarter, every time there's been an incremental shift in the wind and you've made an extra $200, I have limits. And
Yeah.
that was it. And now I am diametrically opposed to the fantasy trip for the rest of my life because they just wouldn't stop beating the dead horse about the damn fantasy trip.
I think I'm going to have to allow that.
God bless America.
That's
I mean, I had 2 copies of the box Kickstarter because
Yeah, that's like Ogre. You go around to every game store in America, right? And there's like, oh, look, you have 6 dusty copies of the Ogre Deluxe.
no,
edition.
I got 2. I had 2 because when Phil Reed was showing it off at the Jacob Javits convention hall, there was a toy game expo going on. I met him in Manhattan. He didn't want to fly home with it.
so you
So-
end up with 2.
I wound up with 2.
So
I got that one before
so
the
you have-
Kickstarter
you
shipped.
have matching bookend tables.
Well, no, I wound up giving that to Zach. Exactly.
And I'm
did.
happy that people love Fantasy Trip, and I'm glad they play Fantasy Trip, and I'm glad it fulfills all their lives and fills the empty holes that Fantasy Trip wasn't there for. But I'm done with Fantasy Trip. It's dead to me. DED dead.
Uh-oh. And he's
Well,
even...
I don't have a problem with Steve Jackson. I have a killer Steve Jackson story I cannot tell on the internet. I have a great Steve Jackson story I can't tell on the internet. Well, all right. Maybe when I've got enough drink in me.
We're gonna have a whiskey.
But it's a
tasting, right?
really
So-
great Steve Jackson story. And Steve Jackson's a smart guy, right? Like,
Yes.
holy shit, the profit margin on paper is through the roof. And I don't have to get any molding costs. We just print stuff, right? Look at Munchkin. Sweet Jesus. Copy machine go burr, make $100 bills.
Yeah.
But Fantasy Trip, no. I would rather play Kite and One, or God help me, bring me some rivet action. Before
Rivets.
I'm gonna
Rivets,
play
baby.
rivets before I'm going to play Fantasy.
Man, I found somewhere actual STL files of the rivets, the various rivets vehicles, and I'm like, oh, I've got to print some of these.
Okay. So what was the other game? What was the UN astronauts versus aliens?
Oh, Olympia.
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 I would rather play Olympia than the Fantasy Trip.
Well, Olympia was really sort of Starship Troopers with serial numbers filed off.
Well,
It was pretty good.
sure, yeah,
Pretty good little
but
game.
again, still better than
Yeah.
the Fantasy Trip.
What was the worst of the micro games?
What was the Fantasy Trip? The module where there was a bunker. There was like an old
security
bunker.
station.
Security
That
station.
was pretty
Let's
awful.
play Security Station.
Yeah.
It's like Game World in a box,
Dude,
but only smaller.
That would be the crappiest of the micro. I mean, the absolute
Oh,
bottom sucking.
Oh.
What was the one? It was a double game. Annihilator and One World. Annihilator was some kind of generic, you're invading a space station kind of thing, forgettable. One World was like Greg Kostikian on acid type game. It was a paper, rock, scissors kind of thing. It was just completely.
I'm now of the belief that somehow Raven C.S. McCracken went back through time and created the Fantasy Trip.
Boy, they really pissed you off, haven't they?
Yeah, that's pretty...
Who's this interloper? I brought this interloper.
There's all the
There's all these interlopers.
That's right.
Yeah.
With Jim Kitchen here.
Oh no.
I went and had steak, or I'd have crashed your party an hour ago, 2 hours ago.
Well, oh, yeah. Oh, isn't there somebody else that brags about having steak all the time?
Yeah.
Yeah, there he is.
Sorry, you're back. Did somebody say steak? Dude, they have barbers.
Oh yeah.
Where you live.
He's going native, man.
That is none other than the one.
We're letting him vent his spleen on Fantasy Trip.
I got people over my shoulder.
I don't know. No,
It looks right, like,
it's an
if I-
interesting
my
look.
credit card,
It's a
then I am
beautiful
gonna
look.
get-
And you look like you're tan too.
Yeah, Chitin
I was
won.
expecting to
That
hear some
was
Jimmy
that
Buffett
was.
song.
Right. Well, we always said Chitin because we didn't know that.
That's right. I don't know how to say it, so I'm gonna wing it. Again, would rather play Kite and One than play Fantasy Trip.
Why now?
You know, those monsters, those critters showed up in Fantasy Trip as monsters.
Oh.
She almost didn't.
I just, come on. When metagaming collapsed,
I would love Johnny.
and Steve got the rights to over and GZ. I never asked you about all this, right?
Well, yeah, because over in GV was out
Yeah, we're
for
still on.
2 years.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're
Remember.
right. Holy God.
And that was
Yes, yes, Don. We
But
got
let's
to
not
read
let
that.
Steve Jackson off the hook.
Thank
Oh,
you,
Let's not let
Gary.
him off the hook for those little plastic boxes where they hinge
Oh yeah, those are
the
awful.
fifth time you opened it.
Oh yeah,
No.
So Steve Jackson, yes.
This is what
Industry
North Texas
luminary.
is about.
Did you ever see A Fistful of Turkeys?
I don't know.
Yeah, that rings a bell.
It was a so when Steve Jackson went off and started doing his own games, Metagaming put out this parody of
No,
Steve
don't-
Jackson,
I
a
don't know
Steve
about
Jackson
that.
game
Yeah.
called Fistful of Turkeys. My best friend was the author of that particular, and,
Oh,
and
Right,
the prime
and,
illustrator.
easily
Oh.
The story of
the author
Billy
of-
Jackal, who was
Oh.
fighting the turkeys in a turkey.
When this show is over, I will tell you my Steve Jackson story. And it's a scorcher.
I want to
It
hear
is
it.
a 30-plus-year-old
Next
Jim
year,
Clyde story, and
I
it's
believe
amazing.
Well, I was
here.
so Steve actually contacted me when he got the rights back because I had like one of the only Fantasy Trip websites in the known
Merle's here.
universe, and I'd actually gotten his permission to
I haven't
reprint
seen
some articles
Darlene
for
yet,
Space
no.
Marine. And so I was really excited. I got on the phone and all this kind of stuff. and didn't realize just quite the degree of woke shitheads that he had hired.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and the first
Yeah.
little
I love this. They're saying I'm bashing Steve Jackson, right? I remember.
no, he's bashing fantasy trip.
Let's
I thought
talk
you made
about
that
it.
very clear.
I thought so too, but no. Let me address
I don't know.
Mr. Gunn's points, right? Like I remember.
Well,
I
I don't.
remember when they were desperate to try to recover money, and I remember when every single Steve Jackson release
Yeah.
had to hit its pre-production sales numbers, or the company was not going to do that.
Wow.
Right? And if there are people on the internet that want to argue, I remember what it was like working at a distributorship when they would call and sweet Jesus, they had to
Yeah, I
have
was like-
certain numbers.
Y'all
I don't
didn't
know
know
who
if
the
y'all
guy
they weren't
is.
gonna meet
Oh,
payroll.
talking to you.
Right? So I'm not bashing Steve Jackson. Like he's
No,
been
Steve's a
smart
talented
enough to
designer. The
learn
guy,
a lot of lessons.
yeah, I mean,
Hard
look,
lessons.
Ogre was a brilliant Panzer Blitz sci-fi game.
Yes. And
Wow.
I present them with success. But if you had stopped your marketing guy from whacking me with the fantasy trip multiple times a day, every day,
I think you are harsh but fair.
Wow.
I believe that maybe then my opinion of fantasy trip would probably be, I don't play it, but I am glad that other people do. But now I have it in contempt.
Yeah, well, I think deservedly so. I was a huge fan. Played it long after it disappeared from publication. So,
Yeah.
you know, photocopies were
Yeah.
made. And they did fix a lot of. They fixed most of the issues that were with fantasy. Just very good.
Folks,
But
that's
yeah,
something
I
that
don't remember
we
what happened,
tend
but
to
I
forget.
one of his little
Well, we
shit
don't, but, I mean,
popped off on me, and I'm
North
like, you know
Texas
what?
is like
Not even.
Life's too short for you, Pepper.
Absolutely.
You're out of here.
Yeah, I was like, we're done.
So let's
you
compare
see
and
people
contrast.
after
Let's
you know,
compare and
grow.
contrast.
You see the
So
kids
let's talk about
literally grow up.
absolutely epic
And
job
of
of
course,
marketing
we've got the two
for a
different
product that
conversations
everybody
going on.
now talks about. Shadow Dark,
Yeah.
right?
Wow.
So Shadow Dark
Wow.
is now the high water mark.
There's a lot of fun.
And so I think
And
that's
It's
yeah,
just
I
a
was
good,
approached
solid.
by a
it's a
number of
great
people
game.
It is.
but all of the
like,
all
oh,
of the
they heard
buzz,
me and Mike
all of
talking
the
about.
marketing and everything
Huh?
around that is all due
And
to
it's the
one
first time I
person,
think
and that's Liz
there were three
Holden
from
in
Canada.
Chicago.
So,
And really and truly, she should get the tip of the
you
hat
know, so
because she didn't
it's
annoy
nice to
everybody
see the
like
new
the
blood.
fantasy trip,
it's
and
good
was
because
smart enough to
it
like
means to have
do it
it
the right
on.
way. And hats off.
Continue to-
Everybody
I don't
talks
need
about
to
Shadow
grow,
Dark.
but it'll
Everybody's
stay
playing
strong.
Shadow Dark. Everybody
What
wants it.
is she the marketing person?
And just great stuff.
It was a brilliant
It was
game.
brilliant. Absolutely.
It was just amazing.
Yeah. Oh, it's Talanian that's in the house.
Jeff Talani.
Oh, look. He shaved his noggin and he got his drag coefficient down to 0.14.
What are we doing over here?
God, there are submarines with hulls more bristly than that.
What's the topic?
There isn't one. It's
Random.
North Texas.
It's North Texas.
You know, it's just to show the joy of North Texas.
I've been raging about the fantasy trip marketing guy who was
Oh yeah,
awful.
He's
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
gone off on the fan.
Yes.
What was this?
There's a lot of
So
hate
the
here.
guy who was in charge of marketing fantasy trip when the Kickstarter was going on, like, oh my God, we had a shift in the wind. Let me tell you about that. Let me do another post. I'm like, buddy, I'm seeing like 6 posts a day from you, and I'm done.
pissing me off.
That's right. I'm happy you have a
Pissing me
Kickstarter.
off.
I don't need to know about it every 15 minutes.
Great overload.
Stop. Just stop.
Yeah.
The love died. The love
Love
died
died.
a
There are many
hideous.
Kickstarters, as you know, and one of the things that I learned somewhere along the line was people don't necessarily want or need an update every day.
No, no, we don't. We're happy.
Right. But in my early days of doing it, I was very enthusiastic. I got something. There's another piece of art.
Right, but especially though to your backers, they're already in.
Right.
They've already bought in, and I'm not going to name the Kickstarter that has been recently, but there's one that's been recently doing it. And every time I get an update, I go, "Oh man, I really just can't."
Every time you send me an update after I've already funded, I want to unfund it.
There's a chance that I'm just
I'm
gonna
ready to
cancel.
just take my money and run.
I understand you're excited. I understand it, but
And I don't mind the guy who it's his first project where he's like, "Oh my God, I'm at 110%." I'm happy for you. Like I'm
Yes.
genuinely happy. But when it's your
Your
37th
people are
project,
professionals,
and
and I
every
expect you
day
to act like
I get. I mean, I'll tell you what. You want to know what the industry's darkest secret is? I'll tell you what the industry's
Oh,
darkest
here we go.
secret
Here we
is.
go.
All right.
Do you know who the most compulsive emailer is after Victoria's Secret? That's Steve Chenault. Jesus wept. If you back anything from Troll Lord, you will never die of loneliness again because Steve Chenault is there to make sure you get a lot of email every day.
Somehow 3 of my email addresses ended up on his mailing list, so I was getting
Nine a
it.
day.
So
And you're just
Oh my
like,
God.
Steve, I love you. But like I've had clingy exes that I've had to get restraining orders for that were less involved in my life than you. What the heck?
Your Honor, the plaintiff wants a restraining order on
Oh
all
my
these
God!
damn
I would
emails.
rather drop the restraining order and marry you, Chenault, than get any more email. Oh my God!
is Stephen going to be present this weekend?
No, but
See, you bring me on, I enable this kind of thing.
No, Jim was already doing that before.
Well, he was.
Yeah.
But I brought it to full flower.
Maybe.
no,
maybe.
no. And I love Steve. He's a great guy. But my God, he has no impulse control when it's like, I could email 12,000 people right now. Bing! I could do it again. Bing! I could go for that project you backed 7 years ago. Bing!
Oh God.
You backed one, what, in 2010? Bing!
Here I am,
Bing, bing, bing,
drinking
bing,
a
bing.
Dr. Pepper and a gazebo.
That's right. God. I'm on a boat sending you emails.
What would the world be like if they actually just charged a penny per email?
Oh my God. Right?
So much so.
It would be a very different place for Steve and Chenault. All right. If Chenault had to pay a quarter every time he sends an email, that's a man who would be not publishing anything. Oh, I love Steve. I do. I love Trillard. They're great guys, but so help me God, Steve. Seriously, you got to cut back on email, man. I'm just saying.
You're
I
killing
dated,
me.
I dated
You're
two
killing
crazy
me.
women named Brenda. Both of them named Brenda, and they would email me less than you, Steve. Jesus Christ.
What's with the Brenda?
I don't know, but I tell you what, I meet one now and I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. That's
Brenda phobia.
something's not right.
Oh, my wife is calling. Adios, my friends.
Say hi to the missus.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So what else can we talk about?
Well, let's see.
What other dark secrets of the industry should I reveal?
Hey,
Give me an area.
an area.
Miniatures.
Miniatures. What do we want to talk about miniatures?
Well, that's an
Oh my God. Well, I work for Games Workshop.
Oh,
so
that's right.
I
Yeah,
did
yeah,
work for Games
yeah.
Do you know what the two most devastating words an employee at Games Workshop first year is about when they start?
No.
Staff discount. oh my God. I have started to clear out miniatures simply because if the day you paint your last miniature is the last day you live,
You'll be 10,000
I
years
am
old.
immortal to a factor of 11.
Methuselah.
I mean, really and truly, right? And I look at well-intended, like all miniature guys are like, oh, I'm going to get to that. Who's going to? No, you're not. You're never going to.
Okay,
get
now
to
I'm feeling personally attacked
that.
here.
Oh, please. Listen, I don't want to hear about your minifigs, Peloponnesian army you've been collecting for the last 30 years
No,
that you didn't get
my,
finished.
Mine is micro armor.
Micro armor.
280
I didn't
scale.
think there was a lower plane in hell, and you just found
Maybe. No, my only
micro
claim to
armor.
fame in gaming is I wrote A Fistful of Toes, a miniature rule set that's fairly well regarded. The Rand Corporation uses it, believe it or not.
Okay.
So does the Army. Is it the War College? One of the Armies.
Oh,
one of the
Mr. Gunn, shut up. Games Workshop doesn't hate its customers. You're just a cranky puss. Give me break.
Both of these things could be true.
Who is this guy? I don't understand. He's a coward. He doesn't even come to the show.
Yeah. So my son-in-law, I'll give him a shout out. Peyton has got into 40K last year,
Yeah?
and he's doing the tournament thing, doing very well.
And does he enjoy it?
He does. He
And you
does.
know what? That's all.
Yeah.
It's a hobby. It's not a
Well,
hobby.
I bought a high-end 3D printer, so that to me, I'm going to be real curious to see how Games Workshop is going to negotiate that.
So I think the big question about that, so let's have a serious chat about that,
Yeah,
right? So there is not a mechanism right now to sell the files for you to download them. We're about 10 years away from where the technology will be to do what Workshop wants to do and needs to do. Now, right now, I know no shortage of former Games Workshop sculptors who have their own miniature lines that are making remarkable miniatures.
Games Workshop themselves, they use 3D tools because
That's right.
they send pre-production 3D printed models out. Now, what's happening though is there's a tremendous free or virtually free universe of obsessive compulsive creators who are producing. Now, some of it's garbage, but a lot of it is really good.
So I always come back to this, right? I always come back to, have you looked at the models that you loved in 1980?
I don't know, personal necessity
Yeah,
or family
right?
game.
Have you looked at the models that you loved in 1990?
There you go.
And
I
anybody
tried
who
not
thinks
to.
that we aren't in the golden age of miniature gaming
Oh, we are.
is delusional.
No, you're right about that.
Right? And more than anything else, what we have, what we are absolutely, we are buried under our own success. You and I have 4 3D printers.
Yeah.
I can make anything in whatever scale I want, but I don't have enough time to paint it. I have upgraded as along the way. I can make filament stuff that you can drop off the top of a building and it will be fine.
Yeah.
I can make resin and the fidelity is amazing. But what gets me, right? So it's the nitwits, right? Okay. Games Workshop are a bunch of turds making a mediocre game with good minis at overinflated prices. I'm sorry. Let me rewind here for a second. There's only one game company in the entire world that employs between 250 to 300 creatives. It's not Wizards of the Coast. And the thing that always used to get me was people would complain about price. Well, the reason that the miniatures are that price is because you have a support mechanism of the manufacturer, the sculpting, the studio, and so on. And so the warble garble, and I'm sorry, here, Mr. Gunn. That's right. There you can hear Mr. Gunn. We've actually captured his voice. Yes, there he is. There he is, because he hasn't put his big boy pants on yet. He's just warble garbling. Well, and the thing is that the tournament structure, right?
Yeah.
All the tournament events, the retail support, right? All of this stuff. I listen to Carping and I know what it is.
Oh God, we've been bitching about Games Workshop raising prices since the late 1980s.
And you know what?
And every price raise was, this is one step too far. They're going to go.
Oh my
out
God,
of
they're
business.
going to go bankrupt tomorrow. And where are they?
Now they hit the skids about 20 years ago. There was a time where they would have been ripe for a hostile takeover. I actually put together a plan to do it for fun. But
I can tell you that A, it would never have happened because of the people who had the shares. B, it's not an add-on to attack, right? Like this is I worked for Games Workshop. I have heard all this bullshit live for a decade, and truthfully, it's so off the rails, right? It's so off the rails because here's the thing that I always enjoy.
Yes,
Here's what I always enjoy.
outraged.
that is Skeeter. The Skeeter's the outraged one.
I just came in,
That's right. But
that's what she said.
I love this where he says, "You suckers,
Ba-dum.
you suckers," because it's not that they're hobbyists and they want to play a game they love. No, they're suckers for buying the product.
Well,
And truthfully, right, I can look back over my shoulder in the mist of time, and I can look at all the
We're live.
40K killers, Cryomat.
No.
They're all connected.
They're all connected.
But I remember all the games.
there's never been a
That's
viable
right.
40K
That's
killer.
right. There
Ever.
has.
It
Yes.
never.
There never has. And
40K's
I have heard all day.
You know what? You can make it into a ringtone.
Hey.
But all this stuff, what do you want to play? Do you want a skirmish game? Like Infinity's a great game, and it has a very different mechanic from Necromunda or whatever. Do you want to collect an army and paint it? Well, what do you want with your army? And the thing that are in the pool industry, right? In the billiard industry, the people that sit on bar stools and carp are known as nits, right? They're known as nits. And if the nits of the 40K Games Workshop crowd, this is what I always say. Nobody's coming to your house and telling you you're doing it wrong. You can play with whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. In your house, it's your rules. I played with unpainted miniatures for a decade.
Oh my God.
Right? And you know what? Like I've moved past this. And I don't judge people because they haven't painted their miniatures. I don't judge people because they don't know the rules like the back of their hand. But if you want to go to Adepticon and you want to compete in the tournament and you want to be a
viable competitor at Adepticon, there are certain minimum entry points. You have to have a certain amount of paint on your figures. You have to have a certain wherewithal. You have to have a certain amount of decorum and a certain amount of interpersonal skills for good sportsmanship. Because that's the foundation. That's the foundation of Adepticon and all these other major tournaments. And truthfully, the folks that just they're too expensive. I can go on 3D cults and I can get all. You can do whatever you want, and I'm happy for it.
I'm more interested though, Jim, in what how much of a threat does that 3D printing stuff pose to Games Workshop long term? Zero.
Because at the end of the day, right? What I know is I could go buy a really nice jewelry scan, and I can borrow a friend's figures, and I could make impeccable scans, and I could print those all day long, and I could be happy at home, and I would not be bothered in one whit. But I'm also a guy that doesn't believe in stealing.
Yeah.
Right. And so when you talk about, hey, ha ha ha, I scanned the new models, and I'm gonna put it up and F you to the man and screw you, Games Workshop, and so on. Well, that just shows me who you are, right? That just tells me who you are. Because at the end of the day, you don't care about the people who actually have to earn a living, and this is what they do. Like, this is why when third edition, no, what was the WotC book where literally, what was it, 3.5, where literally everything hit the internet as files the week of the release?
It was third edition.
It was third edition. Third edition comes out, and on the first week, Player's Handbook, DM's Guide, Monster Manual, PDFs are out there.
I had the PDF.
Yes.
I had the PDF before release. I had the PDF 2 weeks before it.
And wait, real quick. Mr. Gunn wants me to know that my money is where my mouth is. I don't buy the games. I don't give a shit. Nobody cares. And that's fine. Don't buy them. Live the dream. But you know what? Games Workshop isn't losing sleep over guys like Mr. Gunn.
No.
Right? And Games Workshop has been laser focused on doing one thing. And this is the hardest thing for these guys to understand, right? So I worked in trade in the U.S. in the 90s and then up in Canada. And we would tell people, right, we have all these kids coming into the hobby. All these kids coming into the hobby, right? Teenagers. They're excited. They get an army. They, Christmas, birthdays, they get figures. They paint them. They paint them poorly, but they have a good time. They usually drop out for a while around college. They come back after a little more settled. They get more serious into the hobby. But what we would tell historical stores was they're going to go something else. They're going to play something else because they're going to get interested in history. They're going to read things, and they're going to want to know what their grandfather did during World War II, right? Why do you talk about curse? What's curse? I don't understand curse. Mm-hmm. And so literally, the foundation of Warlord Games, the foundation of Battlefront, both of those companies are most of the people directly involved in the start of both of those companies are former workshop people, because we saw the shift moving into the historical market. I don't paint 6mm, I don't paint 15s, I paint 28s because I'm old and I can't see. I have to wear a big god awful goggles, right? But the fact of the matter is this static on the line has nothing to do with what really matters the most. And it doesn't matter if it's miniatures or role play. When you're home, do whatever you want. But if you want to go in a public venue and you want to do whatever you wanted to do in a public venue, you have to play by the rules of the venue. I can't stroll into North Texas in my spangled thong, sit down at a table, and start letting off with an air horn.
There's only one reason. You're not Ben Mike's brother.
Right, but the fact is, that's true. And I can't fill that. I can't fill that banana hammock.
Yeah.
But the point of it is that you don't have to. You don't like lots of these rules are not going to. All this stuff is fine until the rubber hits the road.
I would make this, and I made this observation, 20 plus years ago on Usenet. When we were criticizing Games Workshop then for being too expensive.
I read them all.
The net result of all of Games Workshop price hikes has been all the other miniature manufacturers raising their prices and even more as a proportion.
So do you know why? Ralph Parth has struggled forever?
Because they were selling their stuff too cheap.
They were selling their stuff too cheap. And you know what? That's not my fault.
Well,
it's not
Ralph
anybody's
Parth,
fault.
oddly, interesting enough, they were one of the first ones in the early 2000s.
Hey, can you move that plug to the one above it, behind Tide? I'm not getting power for some reason.
I mean, I'm not really comfortable defending Games Workshop because I got my issues with them, but
sure.
But I remember saying, wait a second, look at and again,
You
this
get
is 20
found
years
out?
ago. Look
Yeah,
at the price per
so-
miniature of, at that time,
So-
even Reaper, Raw Partha.
Do you remember the lawsuit? Do you remember when New York State started to move against the lead industry? in
I do.
93?
I remember
All right,
that.
So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. So New York State decides that they're going to outlaw
Lead
miniatures.
in toys.
Lead in toys.
and
the
lead
entire
miniatures.
miniature market flips out, right? And so every miniature company, whether it was Ratham, Games Workshop, Citadel, Games Workshop, Ral Partha, all the majors immediately have a conference, right? First of all, we have to hire a lawyer to fight this.
Seems like maybe one of the owners of Raw Partha was a lawyer. And he got his firm.
No,
to-
but
but yeah, they had to cough the money.
Really?
We still on?
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
we're still on. Okay.
Holding court.
So here's the best part of
High
this,
as
right?
bring it.
Here's the best part of it, and Mr. Gunn's gonna get heartbreak when I tell him this.
Heartbreaker.
So lo and
There's an
behold,
attack on the
we
street.
get a lawyer. The industry gets a lawyer to fight this
Uh-huh.
in the New York State legislature, and they agree to split the bill. I don't know, 5 ways, 6
Yeah.
ways, however it was, but everybody's going to have an equal share. And lo and behold, there were companies that couldn't afford the first $1,000.
No, there weren't.
Now, I want you to think about that. These are miniature companies that at that point in time, in 1993, had been in business for anywhere from 15 to 20 years. And we're talking all the ones you can think of. And literally, the very first bill from the lawyer that was going to be split equally among all the companies trying to defeat the law in New York State. And there were miniature companies that, because their margins were so tight,
Wow.
they couldn't afford to do this. Now, I am a big believer in the market decides what something is worth. And there are no shortage of clunker products, whether they're role-playing games and miniatures and so on. But it's
Age of Sigmar.
Age of Sigmar. But you know what?
Total crap. Sorry.
Yeah, but they're selling more than they ever did in the last edition of Fantasy.
Blows my mind, but there you go.
And
It's still a shitty game.
and truthfully,
Anybody says, but that's fine.
truthfully, in the end, they don't care what you or I
That's
think.
true. That's true. Fair
and,
enough.
And I
Fair
can
enough.
sleep at night with it, right? Because I'm good.
No skin off my nose.
That's right. I can.
Well, I
my
remember
machine
too
prints
that
whatever
one
I
of the
want. I
problems
can go
was
burn.
they got the state of New York back down, but then of course they realized they might have to fight that war in every single
Every
state.
single state. So then they go to the alternatives, and let's talk about Reladium. Let's talk
Oh,
about
Pewter.
all
The
pewter-
pewter miniatures were
Yes.
brittle. They were pewter. Whatever that formulation was, it apparently it was good enough to not make them scared of getting busted for having lead in toys.
That's right.
Yeah, that was one of those watershed events. But the thing is,
But you know why the pewter failed? The pewter failed because so as soon as that started at Workshop, there was one guy in the U.S. because the U.S. went to non-lead before England, and they immediately did a ramp up to try to find the best casting alternative. And there were companies that their response was whatever the metal salesman told them would work best was what they would use. And they got exactly what they deserved. They didn't take a look at malleable points. They didn't take a look at how it would cast. They didn't look at any of this stuff. And so
I got a question. Sorry, I'm
yeah,
jumping
jump
around.
in.
Who the hell at Games Workshop ever thought Finecast was a good thing?
But you've got to realize that that's also too driven by regulation. And at Finecast, the thing that I'm hearing is that Finecast is actually going away.
Oh no, it's all right. Yeah, it's,
No.
I think-
But like I believe in the next 18
no,
months.
no.
it's
What I
going to
mean is, how could it ever have been a good idea to be? So what they were
because you as a lawyer are
Well,
not thinking this through.
let's make sure that we're talking about the same thing. I'm talking about the resin cast models
yes.
they made. And
You're
I
not
thought-
talking Forge World. You're talking the blisterized.
No, I'm talking about the blistered
Yeah.
resin with all
Yes.
the
Because-
bubbles and all the
because EU
imperfections. and all-
regulation started to roll out, and it was
Oh,
absolutely
so it was
because
an EU
because
thing.
what you may not be aware of, right?
So
you
they
know,
now let me guess. See if I can get this right. They weren't able at that point
I
to
lost
put
my battery.
everything in injection
That's
mold.
okay. So here's what you got to know.
Yeah.
You know about MSDS sheet,
Yeah.
right? So with an MSDS sheet, you essentially are talking about what the potential hazards are with whatever the material is and so on. In 2004, 2005, EU began passing regulations where not only did you have to show where the materials came from, but how you were going to dispose of them.
Lead.
And the problem with metal miniatures is you don't have control over disposal of used product.
Okay.
And so this was a temporary measure
Okay.
that just didn't go away.
Well, I was just. I don't think they're doing fine cast now, though, are they?
Yeah, there's limited fine.
Are they? Yeah. It was such an utter abject disaster. I was like,
But you know what?
you know,
You say disaster, but they sold it for 20 years.
at the customer level, it was.
But you know what? They can also send you another one.
Well, yeah. Well, believe me, I went.
Sure.
I understand. I always presume that there's a solid business reason for any business decision that a company makes, because by and large, there usually is. You know.
So
I just didn't know what the business decision was.
ask
That makes
me
perfect sense.
how many retail stores I've visited in the last 30 years.
Oh, I would think
How
you've
many
lost
game
count.
retail stores do you think I've
I
visited?
would think you've lost count.
Over 1,100.
Wow.
And I've seen every type of mom and pop store. I've seen every guy like our friend Mr. Gunn here in the stores where they come at me. And at the end of the day, right, I don't care what people do in their houses. I'm happy for them.
Yeah.
But you're an officer of the court. If you were found to be guilty of counterfeiting miniatures,
Yeah.
and putting, copying miniatures and putting files out on the internet,
Oh, that
Right.
the potential
But-
liability
but
is
you-
medieval.
and you have intellectual property that you own, right? Do you know what Games Workshop's valuation is right now?
Oh, I don't know what the market cap is these days.
It's larger than the entire British fishing industry,
Yeah, wouldn't doubt it.
right? And so this stuff doesn't matter.
Well, I was curious. I mean, it's interesting because I was curious as to just how much of a threat.
Guys, still
3D
talking to the
printing.
lawyer?
Yeah. Yeah, but it's not a threat because what we're at a point where things are changing.
Yeah.
We're at a point where, we're in like, if we're talking about personal computers with 3D printers, we are like somewhere around 1986 IBM PC Junior stage.
Yeah. Well, I've always assumed that to me, what I think would probably work for them some way. They need to figure out a way to sell STL files, but also keep them from from
So
being
I'll tell you
shared
how it will happen.
and
I'll tell you how it will happen.
bundled with
It'll be a closed loop system.
yeah.
It'll be a closed loop system with one of the major manufacturers where they will have a way that you won't be able to jailbreak the file.
That's exactly what I told my son-in-law I thought would happen.
And the fact of the matter is they're simply waiting. There's 2 or 3 of these 3D printing companies like Stratus and so on. But when this finally and again, I would say we're about 10 years away. All the stuff we see on 3D cults and so on, I love this. That's where the next. So do you know who the highest paid employee at Games Workshop was forever? Jez Goodwin. And Jez Goodwin, you have to realize that Jez Goodwin started at Games Workshop as an artist. Just a guy doing sketches. And lo and behold, Brian Ansell, and Brian was a crazy guy. Like, I got a lot of Brian stories, but Brian took one look at Jez Goodwin and said, fuck me, that guy could sculpt. And he literally pulled Jez over to one side of the studio and spent a few weeks showing Jez how to sculpt. And don't listen to them. Listen to me, right? And showing them how to sculpt miniatures. And so all those early designers, all those folks at Games Workshop got residuals. Jez Goodwin sculpted the best-selling armies in Workshop's history. Space Marines, Eldar, you name it. And finally, when they transitioned to 3D sculpting, he went into teaching the next generation of sculptors. So all these guys who have left Games Workshop and gone on to go sculpt for themselves, they worked under Jez, and he taught them. It's like an apprentice program. He taught them the same way that Brian Ansell did. And you will tell people that, and they're like, oh. Do you think Jez Goodwin doesn't deserve the money he earned from his intellectual property? I'm not his intellectual property, but from his labor? Because he does, right? People who write. There's a great piece. There was a great piece a couple of weeks ago where somebody pointed out that one of the
one of the companies that is paying for articles is actually paying below minimum wage.
Oh no, that was
that
was
what I'm
that
talking
company.
about.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
criticizing. They criticized Walmart.
Yes, they criticize
And
Walmart.
somebody
and
compared their
yes.
per word.
Their per word
Yeah,
is like
yeah.
3 cents per word or something.
That was one of those oops.
And so I am a huge fan of everything we love about all of these industries, right? We have people that start off coming to conventions and they get an idea for Shadow Dark. Let's talk about Shadow Dark again.
Do we have to?
Yes, we do, because Shadow Dark didn't exist.
Oh no, I'm
ago.
sorry. I thought you said Shadowrun.
No,
My
no.
bad. My bad.
Actually,
My
I
bad.
thought the same. I thought the same thing.
But let's talk
No,
about,
no.
let's
Sorry,
talk
no.
about Shadowrun,
I
right?
thought no.
So-
Let's don't.
No, but that's a great point because in '93,
Sorry,
FASA rolls the
I
dice.
screwed that up.
In 1993, FASA decides to roll the dice.
It's evil. It's wrong.
Or no, not
Shadowrun is
93, it
wrong.
was 91.
It is vile.
91.
It's evil.
But
It is a matter of religious conviction.
Sure,
You
but-
shall not mix
but you gotta
technology and
take
magic
chances.
that way.
But these small publishers become larger publishers, become bigger publishers because people went to a con and played a game, right? And they play miniature games, they play D&D, they play role playing games, whatever. This whole
Yeah.
convention is about appreciating that dynamic.
Mr. Gunn, nobody in their right mind would call me a Games Workshop apologist, but I do have to
Victors!
agree. I do have to agree with Jim. It is a free market.
It is a
We
free
do have a
market.
free market, and if these people are willing to pay for this product, I think it's. I don't think it's fair to call them stupid. My son-in-law is not an idiot, and he loves those models and pays for
Battery
them.
dead.
You know,
But but that's how that's their discussion.
and like I said, we have been talking about Games Workshop raising prices literally since 1990.
And you know what?
And it's
And you know what? Still selling.
and they're still
Dude, I've got all the
still
way
raising
around.
prices. They're still selling.
I can haul them all out.
So this is. I think we're nearing the witching hour.
Yeah, I think I won.
I think we're gonna pull the plug on this. Tomorrow night, myself, Glenn Hellstrom, 8 Eastern, 7 Central. We'll find some place. We'll have a good connection. The connection second time around worked, whereas the first time around did not. So we have a new connection.
Yeah, painted armies. There's
Yeah.
always
Bye.
painted armies.
Bye
They have
bye.
Providence. And they have
Bye.
London. You'll have people that are
Be
still
good,
elected.
folks. Yeah.
Kind of hard to